Hi, welcome back to Midweek Encouragement with First Church of God. I'm Pastor Kevin, and I thank you for joining us today. Hey, I heard about this couple, and they had moved into their new house, and the very next morning, they were sitting there having breakfast, and the wife looks out the window and sees her neighbor hanging laundry on the clothesline. "That laundry isn't very clean," she said to her husband. "She must not know how to wash properly. Maybe she needs better detergent." Her husband listened, and he doesn't say a thing. Day after day, whenever she sees the neighbor hanging her laundry, the wife makes some critical comment. A month passes, and then one morning, the wife is surprised to see the bright, spotless clothes hanging on in the sun. And she says, "Look, she finally learned how to wash correctly. I wonder who taught her." The husband smiles and replies, "I got up early this morning and cleaned our windows." Now, that story serves as a reminder to examine our own perspective before we judge others. Uh, Matthew 7:12 says, "Do to others as you would have them do to you." And then a few verses earlier, I think it's verse 2, it says, "Judge not, lest you be judged, or by the level you judge others, you will be judged." What we perceive as a flaw in someone else may actually be a reflection of our own imperfection or our dirty windows through which we are viewing the world. When washing windows, I've learned that on one side of the glass, you should wipe the glass off in one direction, whether up and down or left and right. And then when you go to the other side of the glass, you wipe in the opposite. So if you go up and down on the outside, you go left and right on the inside. Then if you see streaks or smudges or spots, you know which side you need to go back and pay attention to. David said in Psalm 51:10, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." When was the last time you asked God for a clean heart? A heart free from shadows and burdens and smudges and streaks of guilt. A heart that is made new, not just a heart that is better behaved, but deeply cleansed, renewed. David knew this so well. He had made a series of bad decisions which were all sin. He had an affair with somebody else's wife. He tried to cover it up and even had her husband taken out. He let himself down. He let his family down. He let his nation down. And most of all, he let God down. In his brokenness, he didn't try to pretend everything was okay. He didn't try to add good deeds to his mess. Rather, he humbled himself before God. He confessed that he was wrong. He longed for more than just forgiveness. He desired transformation. And so he cries out, "Create in me a clean heart." Not just a heart that looks clean, but one that is clean from the inside out, one that is pure. And he asks that what dishonors God is removed from his life. And then he asks for a right spirit within him. He wants a spirit that doesn't just change like the weather, but that is anchored in the grace of God. One that knows its identity in the mercy of God, not in his mess and his failures. For us, in order for our hearts to be clean, we must become clean before God, admitting our brokenness. And admitting our brokenness is not shameful, it's essential. God does not despise the bruised soul, He welcomes it. It means we don't have to wait until we feel clean or feel strong to come before God. We bring our mess, our regrets, our needs, and He meets us where we are. True renewal is a work of God, not us. His mercy and His love have the power to create us new, to do what we can't build up and do on our own. And the one who wrote these words, David, he failed, but God freed. He had regrets, but God had restoration and redemption. David had consequences for his failures, but God continued to love him and met him right where he was. God doesn't give shame, He gives salvation. This week, the words of Ephesians 2 8 through 10 have resonated beautifully in my ears. He says, God saved you by His grace when you believe. You can't take credit for this. It is a gift from God. Salvation is not a reward for the good things we have done. So none of us can boast about it, for we are God's masterpiece. He created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do good things He planned for us long ago. In that first sentence of verse 8, there are two words that just leaped off of the page at me. Both of them are past tense words, saved and when. God is always more than a few steps ahead of us, making a way when we make a mess. He does what we can't. And I think the masterpiece that He is creating still has some wet paint on it. And I don't think He's finished with it, because He promised that He who began a good work in you will see it on to completion. So let's let the master painter keep working on us and keep creating in us a new heart. Thank you.